how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. We are surrounded by your art. This is pretty cool, right? How does it feel to be in, let's be honest, quite a grand space with all of your art? How has the journey been to be here today?
Probably a bit surreal, I guess, because this is very new to me, so yeah, it's a bit surreal, I guess. I don't know, other than surreal.
Surreal is absolutely fine. So let's go back to the very beginning. What got you into like art and the creative industry in the first place?
Well, I studied art at school, went to college, but I went to college for sport because I really wanted to be a footballer. And then I dropped out, went to work. Long story short, I then got into the tattooing career. COVID happened, and then I started painting, and here we are.
So is that because COVID happened, you were like, I can't ink people,
nothing to do.
I need a creative outlet?
Yeah, so I couldn't tattoo anyone, obviously.
Yeah.
I ended up by getting a job delivering medication, and then on my days off, I was like, I've got to do something. I'm driving my girlfriend mad. So I started painting. I went into the pound shop because canvases were £1. I was like, this is great, and just started painting. And then about 4 months into it, my girlfriend was like, you've got to start painting things that people, because I was selling pictures of trainers.
Okay.
I love trainers.
There is a big market for like, people love like their craps, don't they?
Yeah, right? Upsell was mad. So I started painting the trainers that I wanted, but I couldn't afford them. So this went on for a few months, and then my girlfriend was like, you've got to start painting things that people can relate to. And I said, oh, I really didn't want to, because I was like, no, this is for me, like whatever. And I sold a lot, well I say a lot, probably 50-60% of the trainers I painted. All over the world they went.
Whoa.
I was like, this is sick, this is cool.
Love that.
And then I did a collection in January 3 years ago. Well, just short of 3 years ago. And I did 10 paintings that were like, you know, the size of this table. I did 10 and I sold 7. And they all went everywhere, and I was like, "This is cool. Like, this is
a job. This is a career now."
And then I just carried on going. Like when I didn't have a client in, I'd be painting, and vice versa. And yeah, it's just kind of kept going.
So what's the balance like now? Do you like? Is it still 50-50 tattoo?
It's strange because if I haven't got a client in, I should technically be drawing tattoos.
Okay.
But I'm like, no, I'm going to go paint. So then I paint, and then I kind of lose. But it's probably, I'd say 50-50.
That's kind of nice to be able to do like 2 disciplines.
Yeah, I'm very lucky, but I don't have an off button.
Okay.
So when I have a day off, I'm like, that's not a day off. Like, let's go do some work. Or, yeah, I'm nuts. But yeah, 50-50.
That's quite nice. So when your girlfriend was like, paint things that people like, what made you choose kind of like pop culture?
Everyone can relate. It's fun. And I know that when I was a kid, like even now, if you see like this, everyone knows The Simpsons, or
100%.
right. So you put The Simpsons on, or even if it's in the background, everyone just kind of goes to their go-to as such. And I just thought, sod it, I'll paint things I know, and it just kind of kept going. But then, to be honest, my girlfriend does say, "Oh, what about this?" And I'm like, "Okay, cool, yeah, let's try that, sweet." And then
you're just like a conduit, aren't you?
Yeah,
you're like, I'll paint that.
Yeah.
And then you give it your own twist. Like, obviously this one's Kermit.
Yep.
Great, legend.
Yeah.
But like, what is it that gives it that Jessie twist?
I don't know how to explain it other than if you knew who I am, that is me, if that makes any sense. Like, the way I paint is the way my personality, I don't know how to explain it. If you watch me paint, you would think I was wild, because
Really?
I'm like all over the gaff and I'm just here, there and everywhere, but only with one painting. It's like I'm having my insides go out, if that makes any sense. There's no way to explain it.
Do you like sketch out first?
Have a basic guide,
Yeah.
and then just fucking go have
And also
fun.
we need to talk about the way you paint.
Yeah.
You don't paint with paintbrushes, do you?
Never.
I love that. Did you not think at the beginning when you went to the pound shop, like, paintbrushes, knives, maybe I try paintbrush first?
No, it was just anything I could get for free. So my studio's in a antiques village, so there's heaps of crap lying around. And I'd borrow them, and then it became a thing. Like, so you know, if you get your tube of paint in the plastic, I'd cut the end off. You know, the bit that hangs on.
Yeah.
I'd cut that off, and then I was using that. And then I got the wood from the back of the canvases, and then I started using that. I didn't even know palette knives were a thing until probably like a year into painting. And I was like, oh, that's, you know, you start looking on Instagram and you see what painters do. Oh, maybe I should get one of them tools.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it just kept growing And then like when I tattoo, I use tongue compressors a lot. And I had heaps of them and I was like, sod it, I'm going to use them. I can use them and chuck them in the bin, it's cool. And yeah, I just kept using things that weren't a paintbrush.
It's like zero waste, you're a sustainable queen.
Very.
Okay, so now we've got Winnie the Pooh. One thing I do notice about it is the texture. Like, you might not be able to see, but like, you can literally see like the bulges of like paint.
So you should feel it then.
Am I
Touch
allowed
it.
to?
It's funny because
Okay.
whenever I've like taken a painting anywhere to a client or whatever, they're always like, oh, I can't touch it, you shouldn't touch it. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
no shit, yeah, get involved, you gotta feel it. Because when I paint it, this is like me, right?
Yeah.
So I've got this thing, imagine you're blind, right?
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, I went to that Dansley Noir, whatever it's called, and it blew my mind, just the concept, well, just the fact that how different it is if you can't see. So when I paint, I don't know why it's in the back of my head, like, imagine if you were blind. Like, so if I was blind,
Yeah.
you want to be able to feel stuff. Why pay all this money for artwork that you can't even touch?
I love that.
So yeah, that's why.
I think there's something to be said with like making art that is like, one, it's unintentionally more inclusive because you can literally feel, but like two, it just makes it a bit more, it comes to life a little bit more. And I think often we are so afraid of art, they're like up in like, we're like, can't touch that. And so it's actually nice to have art that's like kind of not above you and that like, oh wow. Like,
because that's the point, we put varnish on it, right?
Yeah.
Why do we put varnish on it if you can't touch it?
that's so true.
Touch it. Like,
I'm going to get told off in galleries now, I'll tell you
you'll be
what.
like, Jessie.
Yeah. I was told my artist was allowed to touch it.
Yeah.
It's the Mona Lisa, just like my mitts all over it.
No, I always say touch them.
So it's so lovely to see like kind of like fun, childlike bits. It's like, I don't know, it's really soothing when a child seeing your work. I mean, what other things do you like to paint? Would you paint like people?
I painted a picture of the Queen and I was really like, oh, I don't know how this is going to go. Because when it's a portrait, people need to be able to look at it and know who it is. So I was thinking, oh shit, this is going to be awful. But to be honest, people loved it. It sold within like 2 hours and I was like, wow, this is cool. Like, people know it's the Queen.
I love that.
I do want to toy with portraits eventually.
Yeah.
Or down the line.
Yeah.
They take me forever because the pressure when you know it's, I don't know,
Actual
a
person.
portrait. Yeah.
And also you still need to give it your twist and like have
Have fun
your
with it.
take on it as well.
Yeah.
So what made you want to register and sign up for the Dubel Prize?
Well, I had a client and she knew about it and she was like, hey, do you know about this competition? No, I've got no idea what you're talking about. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, do you know what? I've got artwork, let's go, let's see what happens. The worst that's going to happen is they're going to say no.
This is true.
And I mean, if you say no, that's fine, like I get it, but it just motivates me more. So if anything, I did it for the motivation.
I love that. And then you got the yes.
Got the yes.
What was that moment like? Were you like, hello?
I was in a field camping and I was in my daggiest clothes and I was like, I'm not washed, like this is me, you know, whatever. And I was like, I said, I got the email first saying you made the shortlist and I was tattooing a client who's a really good friend of ours and I was like, oh fucking hell, I've made the shortlist, this is nuts. And then when I got the phone call, I was in a field and I spoke to Ashley on the phone, Laura on the phone, I think, I can't remember. Anyway, she's like, oh, you made the shortlist, and I was like, oh, fucking hell, I made the shortlist, right, okay. And then I was thinking, oh God, like what have I got to do? Like, do you know what, I was more worried about how I was going to dress on the night than my artwork. I was thinking, oh,
priorities.
Yeah, but this is the thing, I'm not a person, like, I'm just very rough and ready. So to me, to make an effort to a black tie event that I've never been to in my life, I was thinking, well, like, I've really got to do my hair, I've got to polish my shoe, like, this is what I was thinking. So I was more worried
about that,
about my outfit than
the art.
Yeah.
I love that. That's the confidence in your art. So did you have all these artworks kind of ready to go? Like, where were they before
storage?
This?
I did have, my art studio was in an old train carriage. It was like 150 years old, but it was savage in the winter, super cold, so I'd have to start at like 5 to be able to like feel myself.
Yes.
And then in the summer it was super hot, so it was like balancing it out. But I've recently just come back from Australia. I had them in one storage container and then I've just moved them into another. and then some of them, I had a couple in my tattoo studio.
Oh yeah.
But I don't like looking at them too much.
Really?
So I'll pick them apart.
Oh.
Yeah, like even if I'm like a robot in my studio, so I'll finish the painting, whatever. It will stay there till it's like super dry. And then I turn it around. I don't want to look at you. Like, because I will sit there
and then be like,
pick it apart, and then I'll put it in the bin. Like, I'm good to do that. It doesn't really, like the amount of artwork that's gone in the bin will blow your mind.
Oh my God, and I bet it was all brilliant. But it's just, you're just like...
Yeah, like I've started salvaging bits for a long-term project, but they go in the bin. I'm good to chuck it. Yeah. Like some of them, like I've just used as bath panels or like just things, because I'm like, oh, it's just wood, like, you know, whatever.
Do you produce a lot? Like, are you constantly painting?
I could be a bit of an animal, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, but we love that.
Yeah.
We love that.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you looked great on the night, by the way.
Thanks.
And I really like the fact that, not that you felt overwhelmed, but I really like the fact that you make art accessible, and I mean that in the best way, as in like sometimes you feel like you should wear something fancy and wear a bow tie and like be a sort of person to enjoy art, but actually like you can just be yourself and just enjoy art, you know?
Yeah.
And I really, really like love that. And of course you had your event last night.
Yep.
Everyone turned out to see all your work.
Yeah, it's cool.
How was that?
It was very overwhelming having heaps of people know who you are without you knowing who anyone is. And when I first got there, I really don't like having my picture taken. I'm super awkward. And I was in the room and I'm not joking, I felt like I was like famous. There was about 15 freaking cameras going shh, and I was just stood there like, oh, I just wanted no, it's cool, it's good. Yeah. But the camera side of it I don't like.
Yeah, that's it.
It was nice, I met some super nice people. And I was just saying to Damien earlier, I really like the fact that, and I had this in the opening night, when people meet me, they know, it's like they almost understand my artwork, if that makes sense. I feel like I could literally just have and it might sound really confident, but I feel like if I was to have a white canvas and I just did a little squiggle and then someone met me, I feel like they'd be like, I get it. Yeah. Does that make sense?
You give context to...
Yeah, which I think is really important.
Yeah.
But it's not like I'm putting it on, it's just...
no.
Because even like with my tattoos, people come in, they pull up at my studio and they're thinking, where the fuck am I? This place is nuts. And they leave and they're like itching to come back, and they've been coming for years, but it's not because of just the artwork they leave with, it's like a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it.
Well, it's your personality. Your personality shines through, you were saying like your picture's like a bit of an extension of yourself.
Yeah, massively.
So then that makes sense that, people relate to them and then they see you and they're like, this is the same thing.
Could you imagine if I had like a landscape fine art? You just look at me and then, right? It wouldn't happen. So I think
some rolling hills.
Yeah, like it just, so I think having everyone say similar things was good.
And who are your inspirations, artistic inspirations?
Oh, there's a lot of tattooers, but that's only because I've been in that world for 10 years. I liked Roy Lichtenstein when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
Banksy, simply
classic,
because he's him.
Yeah.
And Dali, Salvador Dali, he was massive. Like, he was my GCSE project.
Really?
Because he's weird.
So weird.
And I was like, it's weird, but I kind of get it. Yeah, so I'd probably say Dali out of anyone.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So kind of like, like on the fringes of being like super experimental.
Yeah, just super weird.
Yeah.
Quite dark sometimes. I can't quite go that way, but...
Yeah, your stuff is really fun.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd probably... If I was saying it, I don't know.
Because it's a hard one, isn't it, when you take inspiration from like everywhere. But do you take inspiration from like street art, graffiti?
Yeah,
because it gives me that kind of like edge.
I love street art. I wish I really want to know how to spray paint. I really want to try
really?
it. It's strange, although I'm like a painter. I don't actually know many artists. Like, I'm not going to sit here and, I don't fucking know. But I don't take inspiration just from paint. Like, I keep talking about my missus, but she's massive into fashion. She really appreciates something weird. So I could go into a building, go into someone's house, and how their house, that is my inspiration.
Yes.
Everything. It's not a painter or this person or that. It's more like even this guy, I can't ever pronounce his name, but he's fucking really cool. And he designed clothes. He's a designer.
Yeah.
But I take massive inspiration from him.
So like loads of different mediums, not necessarily just...
No, it's never, I wouldn't say I would pick an artist over everything else.
I love that.
Yeah, that's
all
probably
encompassing.
Yeah, houses. I spend a lot of time on Rightmove.
I
So
love
houses inspire, I don't know, just not paintings, if I'm honest.
Okay, if houses, what kind of houses? Are you a new build kind of girl?
No,
old?
my dream is to have a farm. You know, like they got their farming sheds.
Yeah.
I'd have that, whack a mezzanine floor in it, concrete floor, fire in the middle, and the rest would just be fucking nuts.
Grand designs, eat your heart out.
All over it. So stuff like that inspires me more than painters, if I'm honest.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so refreshing. So I guess the final question I should ask you is, what are your inspirations for the future? Winning the Dubel Prize, probably,
Yeah,
number one.
Yeah. I know. I've got heaps of plans. Do you know what? I've got like hundreds of ideas, but I've only got one pair of hands. I don't want to be famous or none of that. I want to give people what I feel. That sounds really corny. But I think there's so much shit, and like, to put it bluntly, some people are so sad, and I think to myself, I've given people gifts for free. Like, I'm doing this thing where I leave my artwork in the streets. And I've done it all over the world when I went backpacking. I'm not joking, I left this pot, I paid £3 for it, and I drew on it, left it in the beach, and these kids found it. I got a message on Instagram, and was like, I found your artwork. They took it into school, and was like, show and tell. Like, to me, if I can do artwork on a larger scale, yes, obviously they're going to have to buy it, but I just want to give someone fun. I don't know how to explain it.
I love that.
But I've got lots of ideas painting-wise that I'm going to explore that have been in the pipeline for us forever. But yeah, I don't really know. Just going to fucking see where it goes.
Yeah.
Can't plan too much, right?
No, this is very true. You don't know where life's going to take you. Also, that show and tell story is so sweet.
Oh, yeah, it's fun.
That warms my heart.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Jessie. This has been amazing.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.